Welcome, Arlington community members. Today we will be covering the following 4 objectives on this slide. Arlington is taking a future-driven approach to whole child education, which includes changing student needs, changing workforce needs, personalized learning, and multi-tiered systems of supports. The developmental needs of children differ from previous generations. Technology has accelerated the pace of change in society and fundamentally changed the way people interact and communicate. In addition, many students in schools across the country have unfinished academic and interpersonal learning needs due to the pandemic, further compounding matters. The Arlington Central School District recognizes this and is committed to supporting the individual learning needs of each and every student. To help support this commitment, the district has joined the Learning 2025 network, which includes more than 125 districts nationally who work together to learn from each other and develop strategies to meet the whole child learning and developmental needs of each child. Nationally, the percentage of students who have a driver's license by the time they graduate from high school has dropped from just under 90% in 1976 to just under 60% in 2022. Similarly, the percentage of students who have a paying job at some point before graduating from high school has dropped from just over 70% to about 45% nationally. Just as students have changed, so have the needs of employers. According to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report, these are the top 10 job skills employers will be looking for in the year 2025. You can see that they require higher level cognitive skills, interpersonal competencies, and expertise in the area of technology. A McKinsey & Company discussion paper, which studied 5 sectors of the international economy, concluded that by 2030, demand for technological skills will increase by 55%. However, what is notable is that the demand for social and emotional skills will rise by 24%, with the largest increase being in entrepreneurship and initiative taking. The demand for basic cognitive skills, which is what the majority of traditionally accepted standardized tests measure, will continue to decline, and the need for employees to function effectively as a member of a team will be critical. We have an instructional design problem in our schools. They were originally designed for certain purposes that no longer match what our children need when they leave the K-12 system. In fact, the actual data on the extent to which current high school graduates are ready for success in college, career, and life are alarming. Nationally, for every 100 students entering 9th grade, 18 fail to graduate high school on time, 25 don't enroll in college after high school, 15 enroll in a 2-year college but fail to graduate, 14 enroll in a 4-year college but fail to graduate, 12 take jobs they don't need college degrees for. So, how do we redesign and re-engineer a system in which students are co-authors of their learning? The following is how we are approaching things in Arlington. Let's revisit the core 4 of personalized learning. Note the emphasis on data-driven decisions, analysis, planning, and evidence of learning work in a constant feedback loop. The goals are to bring more precision to personalized instruction and learning, and routinely engage learners and their parents, caregivers in a data-driven conversations about growth. Here in Arlington, we use multiple measures of formative and summative evidences of learning, including tests, learner portfolios, demonstrations, and rubrics to capture learners' social, emotional, and cognitive growth. Arlington is anchored in personalized learning, meeting the students where they are, incorporating student choice into their learning goals, encouraging students to reflect and take ownership of their learning, preparing students to self-evaluate progress towards meeting goals. These are all part of equitable opportunities that help close achievement gaps and remove barriers that students face based on their personal identities. New York State requires that each school district has a response to intervention model. Effective July 1, 2012, all students must have an RTI program that consists of 3 tiers of supports. We must follow the minimum components, which are appropriate instruction delivered to all students in the general education class by qualified personnel, explicit and systematic instruction in phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary development, reading fluency, including oral reading skills, and reading comprehension strategies. New York State is now evolving towards an MTSS framework, which is multi-tiered systems of supports, also encompassing 3 tiers of both academic and interpersonal or behavioral skills. In Tier 1, it's for the whole class, a data-driven differentiated core instruction. All students remain in Tier 1 always. In Tier 2, we have the whole class differentiated instruction plus small group targeted instruction in addition to the core. And in Tier 3, whole class differentiated instruction plus additional targeted instruction in a small group plus intensive support that might be in an individual or even smaller group than Tier 2. Whereas RTI is a model for identifying and addressing the specific academic needs of struggling students, MTSS has a much broader scope. MTSS addresses academic as well as interpersonal areas, non-academic, including behavior and other topics such as attendance. What does this look like in Arlington? Let's visit John. This is John's story, who is a 3rd grader at Titusville Intermediate School. John has his reading and math skills assessed using universal screeners, iReady, and classroom-based assessments. We also look at John's scores on grade level in math, and he struggles to sound out words at grade level. The teacher feels that John needs more than Tier 1 whole group instruction, so she works with him in a small group during class time intervention. After 6 weeks with little progress, the teacher shares the data with the school's RTI team. John is recommended for small group Tier 2 reading support for more intensive decoding instruction. He sees the reading teacher for instruction 3 times a week for 30 minutes for 12 weeks. He is then retested by the teacher and takes iReady again. John is now caught up to his grade level peers and will no longer need the additional support. John now remains only in Tier 1 unless he struggles again later on in the year. While Arlington has RTI and academic intervention services currently, we are searching for a uniform MTSS framework K through 12. Our goal is to make sure that the students are given appropriate supports. If there are students who are not progressing, who have been through tiered interventions, the building team may consider a referral to the Committee on Special Education. Ultimately, our goal at Arlington is to meet the needs of all learners. Our next objective is wellness and belonging, and the importance of interpersonal growth and development. As you know, wellness is one of the Board of Education's priorities. Part of MTSS is the interpersonal and mental health. Let's review what is happening here in Arlington, as well as what could be. There is a national state of emergency in children's mental health in the United States. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Child of Adolescent Psychiatry, and the Children's Hospital Associations have all declared this national emergency. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, mental health challenges were the leading cause of disability and poor life outcomes in young people, with up to 1 in 5 children ages 3 through 17 in the United States having a mental, emotional, developmental, or behavioral disorder. By 2018, suicide was the second leading cause of death for youth ages 10 through 24. In Arlington, we have taken these needs into consideration with regard to staffing school counselors. Who is helping our students in school? Under the PPS, Pupil Personnel Services umbrella, we have school social workers, school psychologists, and school counselors, formerly known as guidance counselors. They see all of our students through either an IEP, Individualized Education Program, a 504 accommodation plan, or as needed to support them in class and school. So what are the roles of a school psychologist in a school? Well, the school psychologist conducts psychological tests and evaluations. They help develop and meet the goals of each child's IEP. They teach pro-social behaviors to students within the school environment. They provide IEP mandated individual or group counseling in addition to MTSS supports, and they offer grief or emergency counseling services as needed. What does the school counselor do? Their role enables students to benefit from the curriculum through responsive services, crisis response, group and individual counseling. They assist students who exhibit attendance, academic, behavioral, or adjustment concerns. They encourage parental involvement and assist with advisories. The role of the social worker in the school is to be trained mental health professionals who can assist with mental health and behavioral concerns, positive behavioral support via push-in and pull-out models, academic and classroom support, consultation with teachers, parents, and administrators, and they provide individual and group counseling to all students to increase academic success. So what do our MTSS behavioral and interpersonal programs look like here in Arlington? Our current Tier 1 programs include No Place for Hate and Responsive Classroom, as well as other positive behavior support programs. In Tier 2, we utilize restorative justice practices, and in Tier 3, we have the Responsive Support Program, which targets students who are in specific needs to come out and go to a specific program to address those needs. What might this look like for an individual student, elementary through secondary? Some of our current interpersonal mental health and wellness programs include the Mindfulness Room, which provides a warm and calming environment where students can practice effective mental health techniques such as meditation, yoga, reading, journaling, and coloring. According to a 2016 research pilot for elementary students, after a 10-week mindfulness program that was integrated daily at the morning homeroom check-in with a classroom of 4th graders, teachers reported significant differences in pro-social behaviors, emotional regulation, and academic performance. Elementary school counselors have an impact on these years by implementing a school counseling program and collaborating with school staff, parents, and the community to create a safe and respectful learning environment. So what could be is that we could have additional staff mindfulness training and more mindfulness rooms and resources at the elementary and the middle schools. Currently, many of our schools have sensory paths, as sitting still is a challenge for lots of kids and adults. One option for helping kids to refocus their energy throughout the day is for them to utilize the sensory path or having multiple sensory paths in each school. Sensory paths at all elementary schools are a way for students to decrease off-task behaviors while increasing cognition. Currently, Arlington is piloting 2 interpersonal programs that target mental health supports for all of our K-12 counseling staff. It was launched in September of 2022 and supports Tiers 1, 2, and 3 instruction. We are currently piloting Positivity Project, which focuses on character strengths, which are a family of positive traits expressed through a person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are universally recognized for the strength that they create in individuals and communities. We are also piloting Rethink Ed. Rethink helps students develop important social and emotional learning skills like stress management, resilience, and empathy while learning to build a safe and affirming culture within your school community. Another practice we are using is restorative practices and restorative justice. The goal of restorative justice is to hold someone accountable for their actions by involving them in face-to-face encounters with people they have hurt, which would then improve connections and restore a sense of community. It empowers students to resolve conflicts on their own and in small groups. It strengthens the community, prevents bullying, reduces student conflicts, reduces suspensions, and students say they are happier and feel safer. The debrief is a critical feature of restorative circles. Students are asked about how they felt about the process and if it could be improved. The goal is to hold someone accountable for their actions by involving them in face-to-face encounters with people whom they have hurt, which would then improve connections and restore a sense of community. An actual Arlington student feedback from a 4th and 5th grade Titusville circle, student A said that the kid actually said what he did wrong and apologized. I didn't think he would, but he did, and it made my heart feel better. I felt good that I could tell him about what he shouldn't do. Student B said, I feel bad for them because of what other people were saying. And I realized I was saying those things too, and I had to stop. I learned to stop saying those words and that people do have rights. Student C said, he said a mean thing because he was trying to get at us, but didn't know how bad it made me feel. After the circle, I felt relieved that he wouldn't say it again. I would do another circle because it was good to tell someone how he made me feel and have him never do it again. We are also continuing to train all K-5 teachers on responsive classroom. Going back to last month's discussion about advisory periods, during these advisories, the teachers could utilize the SEL programs such as Rethink or Positivity Project to review the weekly scope and sequence of interpersonal topics. So what could be? We could create an advisory program where every student will be assigned to an advisor. Students meet in their advisory class once a week to build relationships with an adult in the building, learn interpersonal skills, learn coping strategies, learn academic skills, and develop an academic plan that will support their career goals. If Arlington adds a secondary advisory program, staff training on Rethink or Positivity Project can assist teachers with advising their students on academic, interpersonal, wellness, and future planning issues. Restorative circles could be added to advisories, suspension, or detention, and would help students process conflicts and learn to avoid them in the future. Arlington has a responsive support program as a Tier 3 intervention. RSP has a counseling component focused on relationship building using DBT, dialectical behavior therapy skills. It's focused on proactive approaches to instilling skills, habits, and behaviors to be successful in school and life. It encourages use of mediation and mindfulness activities executive functioning skills and supports, and the program is approximately 4 to 6 weeks long for each student. We are currently housed at Arlington Central Administration offices. The Responsive Support Program launched at CAO in September 2022. 24 students have participated in RSP as of December 5th. 5 students have already returned to their previous programs. Let's follow Amelia, a student at RSP. Before RSP, Amelia was not attending class, she was behind in credits, and was not completing her schoolwork. Many previous attempts to help were made by the school, including ICT programming, counseling, credit recovery, all were unsuccessful. Amelia attended the RSP program for 4 weeks. While in RSP, Amelia was part of a biweekly group which focused on skills and strategies to address anxiety and mental health. She attended weekly individual counseling sessions, participated in daily check-ins, received crisis counseling as needed, and did mindfulness Mondays and incorporated mindful moments, including mindful walks. As Amelia was able to get caught up academically with work from extra teacher support, she was also working on attendance issues that were creating barriers. The RSP social worker was able to collaborate and work with the family to help support Amelia. Amelia agreed to outside counseling to allow her to have a space to work through issues going on at home. The RSP social worker remains in constant communication with high school house team to receive updates on progress and discuss reentry transition plans. Amelia transitioned back to the high school once she had her reentry meeting with the school house team as well as the social worker. Amelia has been attending classes at the high school and is passing her courses. So what could be? We could see an expanded responsive support program. Currently it is a half-a-day program and it could transition to an all-day program. Students would have more opportunities to work on their self-regulation goals, including mindfulness and getting ready to learn. We could expand the responsive support program for K through 6 students. Last year, 11 students in grades K through 6 were referred and accepted to day treatment programs through BOCES. We would like to be able to support these students in an in-district program that helps them return to their home school quickly. Some of the considerations are space in the district, expanding the social worker role to full-time, and 2 additional teachers if we were to make the K to 6 addition in addition to 7 through 12.